Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cropper here. It's been suggested / requested that I do a video on Plato and Christianity as a subject. And I've spoken a few times about this in scattered places. You might check out my videos on Greek tragedies, poetry, and sound play. I think that's what, 4-part video. And in there I quote extensively from Edith Hamilton's The Greek Way, which quotes from the Bible. I was going to say from the Bible, but it's really her quotes. And she compares that to the original lines in Greek plays from hundreds of years earlier, before the Bible was stitched together. And it's things like, he who knocks, to he who knocks shall be open. To he who asks, he shall receive. To he who seeks, he shall find. For him who asketh receiveth. For him who knock, that drags it out. And there's one line in the play by Aeschylus originally where that comes from, and it said, "Those who seek God find Him," and that's all the Greeks said. And again you can find this in the Bible, stretched out, overwrought, emotionalized language that's been turned into a rhythmic beat of some sort, so that the thought just gets droned at you over the imagery. That's fine, but I can't take much of it if you can just do it in one sentence. Why do we need to do that? Why draw it out? Why be silly like this? Most people would be surprised to learn that a lot of the Bible is plagiarized from Greek plays. Well, not only that, but a lot of Christianity itself is plagiarized from Greek philosophy. And that's what we're talking about now, isn't it, with Plato? Plato and Christianity. Now, Plato said, we'll just do a quick run of the world of forms in his cave. He said there's a perfect world of forms. We all have knowledge of it from when we were in heaven. Now we're born into this earth. And back in heaven, the world of forms, there was a perfect chair, and we all know what a perfect chair is. So even though all the chairs that we look at in life are different, and you could line all these different chairs up and say, what's similar between all these chairs? There's almost nothing similar between them. One's made of wood, one's made of metal, one's made of stone. There's almost nothing similar. How do we know that they're chairs? Plato said, because in heaven we knew the perfect chair, and these are all imperfect chairs. Alright. Every instance of justice that the courthouse brings down, they bring the gavel, there's the judgment, bang, 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 pay him money or whatever. Every judgment that they bring down had a perfect form for it, or was a reflection of the form of justice, or was a perfect form of that particular judgment. It's been unclear on that. People still argue about that. Not worth arguing about, I say. There are no forms, so let's not argue what form the forms take, shall we? But that's what Plato said the universe is. It's a fuzzy reflection of heaven's perfection. Or, he said, like you're in a dark cave, and you see things going by all the time, and you see their shadow on the wall, and you see this two-dimensional shadow, and you think you know the thing. You think you know it by this two-dimensional wavy shadow that's blurry across the cave wall. You think you know it, though. Then somebody cuts your chains, these are metaphorical chains, and lets you out of your perception, just the realm of your perception, into the realm of pure thought, which is what a philosopher does. And if you go in the realm of pure thought, it's like leaving the cave and coming out and seeing what really was outside, and you would be completely surprised what a rabbit looks like. A rabbit's not a round blob with 2 points that waves across the cave background. A rabbit is a furry little fuzzy animal that runs and darts around through the brush. So you get the idea. And let's take this now, like the Greeks didn't have time because Plato came up with it. Let's take this into religion now. What if we are all on earth, all of us on earth are imperfect, fuzzy, crappy reflections of the one perfect man in heaven? Wow. I mean, is that clear or not? Is that clear or not? God, the Christian God, is a Platonic, disembodied, perfect man, human being, consciousness. We are all imperfect reflections of Him. This is just easy. It's easy to see how Plato would have led eventually to a religion like Christianity. Now, to the extent that Christianity values each individual, they have to get that from Greece. Greece is the only society that's ever had that, and it passed away in Rome. Rome didn't have that, did they? For example, in Greece, what was their entertainment in Greece? They went to plays, and they went to the Olympic Games. What was the entertainment in Rome? They watched slaves fight each other to the death, and they watched Christians, and later on Christians watched other people get ripped apart by lions and stuff. Different spirit of, there's a little more levity in the Greeks. It's easy to see that if anything did get in to Christianity that put a value on the individual human being, that every single individual life is precious and rare, that had to have come from Greek writings as well. I mean, they'd get everything else from Greek, why not that? I think that we've shown how Plato is the basic thought foundation behind Christianity. And Christianity came along about 500 years or so before Islam. And Islam, the Quran, if you take Christopher Hitchens' word for it, and I wouldn't take his word for a lot, he does blip around a bit, but for this I'm willing to half take his word on it until I look into it one day. The Quran is a plagiarized version of the Bible. Now, I know that the Bible is plagiarized Greek plays. I know that. I know that it's just milled over after a few centuries and added emotionalism to it. I know that. But I don't know that the Quran is just the Bible mold over. That's what Hitchens says. If true, then the Quran could be quite squeaky clean of any value, you know, absolutely worthless. Like the Bible has at least the value of each individual life is precious, and all of you or my children are going to come back to heaven, and you know, I'm testing you, says God, on all that. And each individual life is precious. He invented each one of us. That just doesn't chime with the rest of the religion, you know. It just doesn't chime. I created you, it's in my power to do anything I want, and now I'm going to make you suffer on the earth, and then if you don't do it right, you're going to go to hell forever. Doesn't quite chime with the message that everybody's important. So that little acorn of goodness, Ayn Rand said it was probably the only good thing in Christianity, was their emphasis on the individual, had to come, I think, from Greece. Someday I'll be able to hammer that down more conclusively. But it's already quite plain that Christianity is simply an invention of Platonic thinkers, people who believe in this otherworldly perfection, and this world is just a crappy imitation that we all have to suffer through until we can get back to the other one. And a lot of the moral precepts that are brought in Christianity, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Motorcycles are always going by. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. All these moral precepts that you find in the Bible have precedent in other religions or in other writings, way before the Bible. It's not original. Oh, a lady who was probably 50 years old or so, 45, her daughter asked her, this is a few years back, just a random encounter, back on the East Coast, her daughter said, "Mom, when do you think the world started?" And she said, "When Jesus was born, wasn't it?" She doesn't know anything. She just watches TV as a hobby. And she was dead serious. She thought that had to be it. That's got to be the answer. So, some people would be shocked by this, that Christianity and the Bible is just crappy refurbishments of Greek plays and other earlier Greek thinkings. Investigate it for yourself and see how many things you can find in the Bible that show up in plays when you read ancient Greek, or in Plato's writings, or in Aristotle's writings when you're reading those over. Try it.